While President Donald Trump is out there conducting military style raids in Chicago, or at least ordering them, we just got a reminder of why ICE needs to be held accountable. So, over 600 immigrants who had been unlawfully detained by ICE in New York City just won a $112 million compensation packages, right? And the timing, of course, is absolutely perfect because, well, I mean, here is Winston and Strawn. This is the law firm that represented these 600 immigrants. With their announcement here, Winston wins $112 million jury verdict for immigrants unlawfully held by Suffolk County Sheriff's Office. Okay, so let's give you the details about what happened, okay? Over 600 immigrants were unlawfully detained by ICE in Suffolk County back in 2017. So this was during the first Trump administration. This is before everything got ramped up, okay? Now, a federal judge has just ruled that they deserve over $112 million in compensation. And it's because ICE had held them beyond their release dates. And even after they had posted bail. Now think about that for a minute, okay? They followed the law, they posted bail, and ICE was like, yeah, don't really care. We're just going to keep them anyway. What are you going to do about it? I mean, we're under Donald Trump anyway, so he wants us to keep them here. Oh, does he? Again, this isn't some minor bureaucratic error. This is a systematic violation of their constitutional rights. Thankfully, a federal judge looked at this and said, actually, no, that's illegal. You violated their rights, and now you owe them money. I mean, I guess it's kind of a good thing right now that, ICE has got so much money thanks to the big, beautiful bullshit bill, right? And so, yeah, they can actually afford to pay this out. But still, at the end of the day, it actually comes from our tax money, and it should have never happened. They should have never been held in detention. They should have been, and look, they should have been at least released when they had posted bail, but no. I mean, the cruelty, of course, is the point. It is the point. So now here's where it gets interesting. And of course, by interesting, I mean absolutely infuriating. While this $112 million settlement shows that ICE's unlawful detention practices are finally being held accountable, what is Donald Trump doing? Well, he's escalating the same exact abuse in other places. In Chicago, we have been seeing ICE agents rappel from literal Black Hawk helicopters. They banging down doors, conducting militarized raids that make it look like it's more of a war zone than, law enforcement. Okay, these are not targeted operations. They are mass deportation theater that is designed to intimidate and terrorize immigrant communities, and also to apparently give racists some fat fodder when they watch. All right, and notice the timing here. Trump is doing this while ICE is being ordered to pay out over $100 million for the same type of unlawful detention practices. It's like saying, I don't care what the courts had ruled. I'm going to double down and continue to order them to do this same illegal behavior. And did you know, by the way, fun fact, and well, not really fun, 97% of the immigrants arrested in Chicago in these dramatic raids had no criminal history. Of these 614 immigrants arrested in the Chicago operation, which began in September, just 16 of them had significant criminal histories. I mean, when they say, oh, we're going to go after the worst of the worst, that's what we're doing. We're going to keep people safe. They are lying to you. They are lying out of their, asses. Okay, that's what they're doing. The pattern is clear. ICE has been systematically violating immigrant rights for years, and they get sued, and of course they have to pay massive settlements. And of course, they get a lot of money from Republicans in Congress and Donald Trump. And so they're like, yeah, I don't care. Yeah, we're just going to keep doing this because it's not about the law. It is not about keeping communities safe. It is about the cruelty. That's what it is. So obviously, instead of reforming their practices, Trump is saying, go ahead and be more aggressive. Get more militarized. Do more of this. But here's what really gets me, right? So these are the same people who scream about law and order when it comes to immigrants, right? But they are silent when ICE violates the law. They want accountability for immigrants who are, when following due process. But they want ICE, just like Donald Trump, to operate above the law. The $112 million settlement proves that what we've been saying on the left all along. ICE's practices are often illegal and violate constitutional rights. Now, let me just go back for a moment and criticize Joe Biden for this. Again, because this happened in 2017. Joe Biden won the election in 2020. What did he do against ICE? He continued to fund them. He and Vice President Kamala Harris continued to fund this rogue organization, continued to pump money into Border Patrol and to do deportations. And so I think that's very, very important because they were doing these crimes back then. Joe Biden should not have been funding them. I can understand why Trump wants to fund them because the cruelty is the point. But why was Joe Biden doing this? Why was Joe Biden still continuing to fund this organization? No. Abolish ICE always has been the moral and correct position. And that is why we cannot trust corporate Democrats to be able to do the right thing when they get into power. And so maybe we should prevent them from getting into power by voting for actual leftists and progressives in the primaries. Okay? And there you go. Now, that said, instead of learning from this massive accountability judgment, Trump is doing what he always does, doubling down on abusive tactics. Because it's not about border security. It never was. It has always been about terrorizing communities of color and violating their civil rights, while the courts continue, and usually, obviously, after the fact, because court systems are pretty slow, while they keep telling ICE, you can't do this. Well, that's not exactly stopping them, is it? If this video helped you cut through the BS and see what is really happening, then smash that like button. Every single like pushes back against the right-wing propaganda machine. I can't do this work without your support. So please check out my Patreon. Link is in the description of this video. For a few bucks a month, you can help keep this channel independent from corporate BS. So hit subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's keep fighting for democracy and against fascism together.